catch these messages.
Right. So the receiver for the
Mm,
psychic messages don't come in through the brain.
mm,
They come in through the heart
mm,
as a telepathic message,
mm,
right? And then it shoots the chakra shoots the question through your crown chakra to prime creator. When prime creator answers, it comes in as what we call a download. The reason we call it that is because right here on the right side of your head, you have a part of the brain called the anterior gyrus. And it's known to be activated when spiritual people are receiving spiritual messages, right? So our elders knew this and they encoded it in the art and in the architecture. So if we lose track of the oral tradition, we don't have to rely on what they wrote on the paper because they wrote on the paper to give us the appearance of legitimacy, right? So anybody can be the leader as long as they look the part. But when the real leader comes, all the rest of them have to take a back seat because the leader in our culture is the one who knows the way, right? So in let's say in YouTube culture, if I wanted somebody to guide me on how to develop my YouTube channel, I come to Brother Rich. Hey, Brother Rich, can you show me how this done? In that case, you then taking the lead and you also becoming a mentor and a teacher to a mentor and a teacher. So we just switch positions as you explain to me how to develop a YouTube channel. Because you know the way already, and the verification that I'm right is in the fact that you have an open and functional YouTube channel, right? And you have a lot of people that listen to your channel. Now, I hear some people complain about certain guests and they not understanding journalism to the degree that you understand journalism. You can't only have the people that I like, right? Sometimes you got to have people that I don't like to give an opposing viewpoint in order to make sure that the viewpoint I gave was even correct. Because if it's not challenged, how are you going to know it's right? Right? So this is what we be exchanging ideas, even under hostile circumstances, would look like an adversarial position, right? So it's not. It still has to be done because the information has to be challenged in order for it to prove itself. Because they say the truth don't need no support, right? They say the truth is like a lion. Turn that motherfucker loose and he'll defend himself, right? So you tell them, don't argue with me, argue with the receipts, and then they get mad. Emotionalism. That's what you call intellectual masturbation. If you're into an intellectual pursuit, you can't be um, only because you want it to be that way. You know, I always go back and look over my information. Sometimes I find errors. And when I find an error, it's going to either tell me two things: correct the error or find the wisdom in the error. If it say find the wisdom in the error, then I begin to look at the things that surrounded the error that made me create it, which shows me a Freudian slip, which was a message from my higher self that's overriding what my lower self is saying in order to get my attention on the topic that need to be discussed. So I started to learn to read how my mind processed information and communicate it back to me. That's part of your shadow work as well. It's more of the more pleasing side of shadow work, I should say, too. Because when you start to understand the difference in the communication with yourself and spirit, you also get to differentiate your communication with your parents. Because y'all going to be eternally tied in the heart chakra through this same thing we mentioned earlier called love. And that's why my mama used to always tell me, son, you got to honor both your mama and your daddy, that your days may be long on this earth. That means don't take sides in our bullshit. Find a way to make it better for your children than we made it for you, because we made it better for you than our parents made it for us. So it's passing the baton forward by teaching you how to stay in the middle and just follow what's right. And there's never a wrong time to do what's right. Free Larry Hoover. Motherfuckers. Free Chief Malik Angel Bay. Motherfuckers. All the political prisoners. Assata Shakur. Let her come home. Hands off Assata. We
Indeed.
ain't playing.
Got that.
We dead serious, Rich. We dead fucking serious. Hands the fuck off. Look, what
Yeah.
my man say, we might fight amongst each other, but I promise you this, we'll burn this bitch down to the
Down, get
script.
gets pissed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tupac.
so we
Rest in
ain't
peace.
playing.
Rest in
We
peace,
cut, we
Tupac.
back for everything they owe.
Uh, talk to him, brother.
We back for everything they owe because we won the game. We conquered the invader who came to conquer us, who swore that we would be their eternal enemy and they would lie in wait for us at every turn,
Mm-hmm.
making secret oath to kill the kings, the princes, and the people of the land,
Mm-hmm.
putting it in the public domain, revealing that they declared us imbeciles in law by unum sanctum papal bull,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
by papal decree,
Mm-hmm.
instituting something called the white man's burden.
Mm-hmm.
And the white man's burden was to civilize the heathen and wherever he found him in the world in order that they can spread Christendom around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the cause to spread Christendom around the world sprang from the ambitions of Emperor Constantine when he created the church in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now we know what they did. It's a wrap.
Mm.
We back for every fucking thing they owe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Every tribe from the earth tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We all organic from the earth, but we all slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your Mongolians, you have your Huns, you have your Aryavedics, right? You have your Ainu, right? You have your Yin people, right? So when we start going around the world naming all these tribes, you got your Norsemen, your Scotsmen, your Britsmen. They all humans from the earth tribes, and things was done to corrupt the earth tribes by external beings coming from other places. This is what you call a breach in the matrix. The breach in the matrix is the virus in the matrix that was Mr. Smith. He was originally created to not have a bias in his performance of the function in the matrix, but he some kind of way artificial intelligence became slightly conscious enough to want to subjugate, right? And that made it become a virus, a parasite of real.
Indeed. Hey Rod, a couple of questions before. First of all, before I get to the questions, they've been asking. I didn't want to interrupt you, but been asking about your Cash App. It's capital
Capital A,
SIKAPE. Yeah,
capital A
capital
P E.
APE. All right, so I'm putting for those asking. I seen y'all asking in the chat, but I didn't want to interrupt the brother. The brothers Cash App, Rod Hayes, dollar sign, capital SIK, capital APE. For those who appreciate the brother's work and want to send a donation his way, that is the way to do it. We're gonna get to a couple of Q&A and then we're gonna get out of here, family. But I thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We got about 3,000 people. Thanks all of y'all for tuning in tonight and listening. Rod Hayes, what damn, I done forgot the question I was about to ask you. I had a question on my mind. I was gonna ask you. Damn, just forgot what I was about to ask you. But let me get to some Q&A. I want to ask you about what's going on in Europe. We keep hearing about the earth changes that's happening, the downloads that's coming from the sun, the solar flares, this, that. Now there's reports in the news about over 1,900 people dropping dead in Spain because of the heat wave. What's up with the sun, number one? And what's up? What's getting ready to go down with this energy coming from the sun, my brother? Because this is intense right now.
I done an update on Dr. G when I got done doing a task for Big Mama.
Mm, mm.
Soon as I came back from the task, she called me when I walked through the bus door coming from the bus station. And I was telling her about the cycles. Okay, so the Piscean age was the silver cycle, or what we call a lunar cycle. And it is the cycle that facilitates what you call ice ages. We had more than one ice age on Earth, which can be confirmed by the geological surveys. And these ice ages come in the lunar cycles, but when the sun cycle come in, it ushers in what's called the golden age. It's called the golden age for several different reasons, but one of them is that the UVBs and the UVAs, right, the UV rays that's coming in is doing something to the DNA of very specific groups of people. And as the temperatures gonna rise, they can rise as high as on an average of 20 degrees around the world, or as little as 3 to 4 degrees. But it's a temperature increase that comes with a different exposure to the solar rays, and then there's another Walter Disney built a replica of it as the Disney Castle in order for him, because you know he was a mulatto. He was passing. So he was trying to get the memory activated about the castle before they hijacked Disney with all of the pedophile symbolism and programming.
I, I'm down here, so I don't want to talk too much about Disney, but we know what it is. But at
Yeah,
this point, yeah, you know what I'm saying? The centers and stuff like that, I'll be trying to stay away from all that crazy stuff.
yeah. Walter Disney, I think he was 33-degree Freemason.
I just found out that they're owned by the castle, the crown. They're owned by the crown. That's why when the governor down here was trying to go against them, but
Mm-hmm.
you said something else. I don't want to lose start. It said something before. Yo, it's crazy. Like I said, you keep going back to the imposters or the ones that try to be these people. If this is their culture, why wouldn't they want us to talk about it? Why is it they anybody can talk about it, but they don't want us to talk about these ancient ruins and shit? It's like it's almost like it's robotic the way they get on there and they insult people and try to put them down. I like seeing people put out information and knowledge, especially for the kids being on social media and they seeing the shit now. They got points and shit to where they can go. You know what I'm saying? So it's amazing what they're doing with Queen Khalifa, the whole Olmec or Z civilizations, because now you understand what you're supposed to be doing as far as this ain't some shit we just made up or some Sunni shit or pseudo shit. This some shit that motherfucker been doing since the beginning of time. Let
Right. Let's go back to when you was talking about the idols, right? Those all of those are what we call statuary, bas relief, relics, temple paintings. That's information. That's not worship. That's
they'll
like
tell you
writing
prove
a
it,
book.
right? The same people tell you they'll say prove that them people were this, right? This is from I didn't make this. This is from Mexico. when we went down there. It's from Yucatan, and this is
Mm-hmm.
how they made the people that's in Yucatan made their people with the little locks, black girl. And when they see us down there, you see their gods, their deities. So these are telling you we ain't got to talk about it. This is what the Archdot are saying. So it's
Okay,
like,
now DNA activation. How do you activate something in your DNA? Every codon is information. Where do you process information? In the mind,
right?
right? When you become aware of something, the information reveals to you, and you have that aha moment. That is a codon activation of your DNA. If one of us is showing these relics, and somebody have a past life flashback aha moment, the spell is permanently broken on the individual. That aha moment, yeah, that aha moment is activating DNA codons. That's the light codes. Hey, what that piece right there? Hey, me and you gotta talk about that one.
That's a bison horn. They called it
Yeah,
this. You think they had time to do anything in the world? These is they'll tell you don't fuck with it, right? They'll say prove it, and then I prove it because I didn't make none of that. Those is artifacts. Art. This is the art that our ancestors said facts. They put our faces on like, bro. I can go all day. You know what I'm saying? When you were talking about the temple of the temple of the monkey, and it's
yeah.
going all up and down the Mississippi, and all, like I have artifacts. You know what I'm saying? That's why we all need to be in the artifacts. That's the culture that we could. Oh, also, if we're gonna say we Olmecs are amazing farmers, and right now the new representative of Trump says he'll pay farmers. So I think we most definitely need to start talking about getting some land and farming. And getting, if we're gonna say we don't talk about everybody want to be Olmec till it's time to
Li-
do Olmec shit. Let's start farming and getting on this. You know what I'm saying? Getting real
Man,
master farming.
listen, man. There's gonna be too many rich niggas. They not gonna want to get their fingers dirty. I'm
Oh,
I'm just being honest with you.
I'm again.
Listen, most of us gonna have to find people to hire to work the farm to help us work the farm because ain't we lazy, man. We lazy not because we inherently lazy. We have a refusal to work that's been programmed over 400 years. So the first opportunity we get to not have to work, we taking full advantage of it. If I got enough money in reserve to live my life how I want to live it, I'm not going to work. That's just how these niggas is. They not going to work. Nigga hit the lottery. Look, they got memes. How I'm gonna be sitting waiting to tell my boss that I'm not giving any notice. And they got all them different people sitting in the seats different ways, talking about when they get rich, how they gonna quit their job. Now, just think about it. Now, we going into a golden age, which is going to unlock a lot of tribal wealth. A lot of families is going to be fighting about who going to run the family bank, right? It's a system of checks and balances, but we don't know who got the check, so we can't balance the books. You understand me?
Gold standard. Pay attention to the
So
shit.
look, um, they had a case came out, Moore versus some credit union. I think it's First Savings Credit Union, and it was a Supreme Court case. The argument was about the fiat. You've been taking people's stuff, and fiat has no value. That means that you've been stealing the valuables because somebody don't have the value less, right? So the ruling came out that they had to compensate them people for taking their house in the mortgage fraud. They had to compensate them people for taking their car in the repo fraud. of their contracts was predicated up on fraudulent contracts and our ignorance, because ignorance is no excuse to the law. The Pope's papal bull said the reason that he was taking control of all of the souls on earth because we was all imbeciles, unable to administer our own affairs in our own estates, right? So this is the prerequisite to the doctrine of discovery, which sent out the Catholic Church to administer the affairs of everybody on the planet, because they was what they call inept. They was no more than children in the eyes of the laws. They can't administer their own state. How long did Noble Drew Ali say he gonna leave these people in power? Till we learn how to run a government, right? And the only way to learn how to run government is to study government. You got to know how they work, who running it, where they at, how they hiding from the.
He's a regular. I see you all the time, blockchain monkeys. All right, who else? Empress, Noble Royalty. I'm looking to see if I see some regulars. Barbara Saunders. Barbara is a regular. Shout out to Barbara for always tuning in. I recognize that name. Um, yeah, let's get started. My brother Rod Hayes, man, I appreciate you coming on again. Like I said, you out there, you lining, you typing your name on YouTube. You all over the place, man. They got you all over. Do you have your own YouTube channel yet, or you didn't create one?
I never created one. I just told the people that was listening to me if they seen something they liked that I said, clip it out, put it on YouTube. Because I have a channel, but
Mm,
you need so many before you can go live on there. And my
right.
my computer that I would have been moving all my videos with went down. So
Okay, okay. Well, it's all good. You here right now. So I'm glad you're here. Like I said, to start out with, my brother, we just passed an important day. I've seen all the people in the spiritual community talk about it. 22222. I've heard I had a sister recently in Queen, the Oracle, Sister Myra recently talk about this big mama energy, and I also hear you talking about it. So could you just elaborate from your perspective on what exactly is this big mama energy that's hitting the planet heavy at this time? Please, my brother.
all right. So in our ancient traditions, no matter which one of our organic cultures you go to,
Hmm.
we always been matriarchal.
Yes.
Okay, and this matriarch energy that goes through the women,
Mm.
right? It's the same energy of creation. It's the energy that holds the information of every aspect of creation. So from that energy, we call that big mama energy prime creator energy, right? So we call her big mama based on in the galactic star clock. So if you pull up the calendar from the ceiling in the Parthenon or Isis, I think it is, over in Egypt, you see a star map, which has what they call zoo types on it. And the zoo type that controls it all from the center is what we call Big Mama or Ta'ert or Tawaret. But in the different cultures, she have a different name. But the energy is the same. So, like when we see in our family the matriarch in the family, we call her Big Mama, we call her Mud Dear, Nana, and she like pretty much is the glue that always hold family together. Even when they don't get along with each other, they don't give each other shit at her house. So that's the Big Mama energy we talking about. And as above, so below, it plays out in the human family the same way it play out on the stars.
Indeed, indeed. Why do you think other cultures, or maybe they do, don't seem to have a big mama like the black community? Like the black community is big on big mama. Is that? Do you see that
Believe it or
within?
not, all of the organic cultures
Mm-hmm.
big on Big Mama.
Mm, mm.
right? So in modern Indo-European culture,
Mm,
what we call the Pale Nations of Europe,
mm,
they big mama is the old crone witch, the wick they call her the wicked witch because she mean. Everybody in every family know Big Mama mean as hell,
mm,
and she don't mean no harm,
mm,
and she ain't gonna tell you nothing wrong.
mm,
But you
mm,
got to put up with her sharp ass tongue,
mm,
right? And telling you the truth that you don't want to hear,
mm,
right? So we all got a big mama, but in different cultures, she's expressed according to the organic culture of the geography,
mm.
right? In China, she's the old Asian lady with the big ass cane.
Ah, right, 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 right.
Right. So in
Yeah.
Asia, they say she who carries big stick carry big weight.
Yes,
She's
yes.
big mama.
Yeah.
Same energy,
Same energy.
right? So
Mm,
it's the same in Australia. They're matriarchal people, and they've been fighting colonialism to hold their matriarchy together,
mm,
right? So that's why you have the ones who follow the old ways live away from the villages and the cities where they populate with patriarchy. It's repulsive to the organic people of the land to masculinize and anthropomorphize Prime Creator as a masculine figure. And the culture expresses it and we fight it. And this is what makes us rebel against religion or embrace religion,
mm, mm,
right? So you either fight it and submit and embrace it, or you fight it and don't submit and rebel against it,
mm,
right? So it's two poles, two different opposites. But you ain't gonna
mm,
never find your way out the trap until you can stand in the middle unbiased.
mm, mm,
Soon as you say somebody religion, race, skin color, geographical origin influences the way you think, you
mm,
don't think like a god no more.
mm.
None of that should influence how you think about people. You should make your own decision based on your own life experience,
Facts.
right? So
Facts.
Nation of Islam say the white man the devil. Coming to find out the white man ain't even white. And
Mm,
they infiltrated the Nation of Islam. Them goddamn devils. So what happened? They tore it down and Farrakhan had to rebuild it. Somebody said in one of my comments, they said Farrakhan was fake because he been around 40 years and he ain't did nothing. My response to that, and this is what we should all pay attention to, don't ask us what Farrakhan should have did. Ask what you did in that same amount of time. He rebuilt the tribe that Elijah Muhammad had built with his wife Claire.
mm,
He restored that which was torn down,
mm,
right? Brought it back to the same equal or greater prominence,
mm,
right? And then he was able to have the amount of respect across the land in his congregation to be able to communicate with every single gang member on the street with respect,
mm,
right? So would you say he haven't done nothing? What the fuck is you did,
mm.
right? You sit there, point your finger, and criticize. Accuse a motherfucker of selling out, but you ain't even stepping up. So you ain't even been tested to sell out. You gave up before the game began so you can criticize everybody else for what you didn't do.
Whew. You gave up before the game began. Ooh, okay.
So now they sitting back on the other side of the fence, away from the fight, criticizing what another person should do in their sight, but they not man enough or woman enough to step up and do it themselves.
Mm,
So what Farrakhan do? The Million Man March was sufficient enough achievement in my mind for him to be have solidified his place as a prominent figure in our community. He
mm,
had every gang there, no violence. Who else did it? The nigga that criticized ain't do it. He too busy pointing the finger.
mm.
Who else did it? Right? On the heels of that, the sisters took it up on themselves to have a Million Woman March that was successful.
Facts.
under the leadership of Minister Louis Farrakhan. So the person that's asking me, or that's accusing him of being a sellout, I'm asking you, what the fuck did you do? While we struggling for liberation, freedom, and awakening the minds of our people, you criticizing. You don't like the way I do it. You don't like the way Farrakhan do it, but you ain't man enough or woman enough to do it yourself. You ain't gonna never get free as long as you think like a slave. Follow a slave's mentality, you get a slave's reward. If you don't recognize your Stockholm syndrome by identifying with the enemy, by cutting down the people, the very people that's coming to give you a hand and lift you up, but they ain't doing nothing because they ain't doing what you think they should be doing. You don't even understand the fight you in from a spiritual aspect, and you trying to tell somebody else how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know you still a goddamn slave, and you worried about what somebody else didn't do. I'm not an Al Sharpton fan, but he did most of these finger pointing Negroes. Even if he did sell out, he still did more. At least he tried before he failed. You understand what I'm saying? At least he
with,
tried before he failed.
with you saying that, Rod, I see you posted Dr. Malachi York on your
Yes, sir.
Instagram. What's your thoughts? You know, because he's real controversial. A lot of people say he did some crazy shit.
Yeah, so let's go over the crazy shit. Since we
Yeah.
dealing with the slander of the
Yeah.
leadership,
Mm-hmm.
this is why we ain't got no effective leaders, because we got too many people criticizing with no facts. So they accuse him of touching these kids. So they say they're going to link him to all of the cases through a genetically traceable strain of herpes. The problem is that Malachi don't have herpes, never had herpes, and he's been going to the doctors for an annual visit, which included a full STD span since the 70s. So he only had herpes long enough to get a herpes to these kids, and then turned around and went to prison and got rid of the herpes. Since they've been testing him in there, he still don't got herpes. Make it make sense. If you don't understand the intricacies and the details, keep your mouth shut till you get the receipt. You can't have herpes for 3 years and don't got it no more. Or you can't have it only when the victims come up, but every time you go to the doctor, it's not there. Herpes is traceable. It's traceable by genetics. They use it to confirm sexual predators on a regular basis. So this in and of itself tell you he was falsely accused, let alone all of the accusers was paid emolument by the government to sell him out. So if you don't know the intricacies of the case, then you shouldn't speak on it. We always speak on something we don't know about. That's one of the problems that's keeping us divided, conquered, and subjugated.
Mm-hmm.
Stop speaking on what you don't know about. Read the case. Read the case files. Read the rebuttal. They didn't have jurisdiction of original origin. They could have dismissed the case on jurisdiction alone, but they was determined to override the law in order to misapply the law. They had to bend the law to make it fit his case. They had to create a crime in order to accuse him of it. It's the same thing they did to Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover. They doing the crime. They accusing our leadership of the crime while they in the commission of the act. They doing it. They got caught. So they accusing them of being drug dealers. You can't get that quantity of drugs. If you're making more than a couple $1,000s, couple $100,000 selling drugs, you're working with the feds, knowingly or unknowingly.